Yeah, it sounds good. Cool. Got something special for you guys today. This is the Eric Johnson amp. This is the one that was owned by him. It's a 1969 100-watt Marshall Super Lead, and I'm using a Butler 4-knob tube driver. And we're going to talk about decoding this sound, which is like the classic EJ tone. I hope we got good audio here. Where we go from here? I don't know what we're doing. We're having a good time with it though. Man, so again, this is a couple of important things that we're going to talk about today. We're going to demo everything in and of itself, and you can kind of hear this piece by piece, right? And I mean, I think it sounds really accurate. Except for my playing. Time. What's that? Yeah, something like that. How would he move that up? Something like that. Something like how he would do that, maybe. It's almost like I feel like I'm wearing a disguise when I'm trying to play like him, because I don't innately play like Eric. I feel like there's so much conversation about how the tone is some kind of secret weapon, and how it's kind of unachievable in a lot of ways. And I feel like it's something that, you know, we can all kind of have access to if you're just looking at the core ingredients. And let's take things just a piece at a time. Yeah, my dog's in the background kind of making herself known. Let's hear just the Eric Johnson amp by itself. I'm going to turn the tube driver off. It's like, this is also dimed, okay? Now, in this amplifier, so here it is by itself again. I'll turn some of the delay down just a little bit. I feel like it's a little super wet. So you're surprised probably about how dark it is. All the EQ controls are really low. Like the bass is, you know, maybe slightly above 9 o'clock. The mids are just slightly above that. The presence is at 9 o'clock. The treble is off, and both masters are dimed, completely wound out. This amp would blow you through the wall if you weren't playing it through a load box. So the key to this, though, is right here. This is just a Y cable. Now, what's important is if you notice on this Y cable, there's no tip ring sleeve type material. Okay, this is not going stereo to left and right. This is going mono to two monos, and it's going into the top left and the top right inputs of the amp. This is not the same as jumping the amplifier. Not at all. Okay, this is less gain, less input because the signal's being split. Now, this is something we need to verify with someone like a Dave Friedman, John Suhr type of person. But because this is happening, you're getting less input to the amp. That's why it's clear. I mean, like, this is all the way up. This is the guitar all the way up. And this is just the amplifier by itself right now. Now listen, okay, I want to say a few things on why I think that I have some degree to speak on this. I'm not Eric, but I'll tell you right now, Eric has become a friend of mine. I've been lucky enough to open for Eric. I've been lucky enough to share the stage with Eric several times. We've had him at Woodshed, and he's the most open, gracious person with his knowledge. There is no mysticism. There's no secrets there. So if I in any way correct anyone in the room, I am not being a douchebag. I'm going to try my best not to. But what we're seeking in today's conversation is accuracy. We're looking for accuracy, not myth, not hearsay, not I read it in Guitar Player, none of this foolishness. This is like what is factual. What is factual that I have seen with my own eyes, that I've heard Eric tell me person to person, from him to me. This does not make me an expert. Again, I'm not Eric. But what it does make me is have a, higher degree of accuracy than someone who's seen something on Facebook or the internet. This is the whole point of this conversation, is to decode this, demystify it. Now, I don't remember what the tubes were in the preamp tubes of the amplifier, but they are exactly what Eric likes in the order. I've got it written down on a little card, and in the order that he likes them in. My tube driver does not have the bias knob. This is just a 4-knob Butler, and as you can see over here, I've got a whole mess of tube drivers that we're comparing, including the Venus, a 3-knob tube driver, a Dover drive. There's all kinds of goodies over here. But right now, the most accurate is this 4-knob Chandler tube drive. The EQ controls are off. The high and the low are completely off. The output in the tube drive is both at noon. So here's the amplifier again. The delay is coming from a VP4 that is post load box. So the amplifier is wound out using this Y cable, right? And we're going straight into it with the tube driver off. It almost sounds like you can tell the fundamental tone is there, but it's not right. I'm going to step on the tube driver. It adds the grunt and glues all the messy frequencies together. For like the Cliffs thing. Dustin, there is no clean tone. This is the amplifier. When you turn the tube driver off, this is the amplifier. Pickups are completely stock. This is the most 60s style Strat that John Sir, he's gonna be mad at me. John's gonna be mad because I got the tuner on. Look, there's the headstock. That's for Papa John right there. Not the pizza guy. It's different Papa John. So this is a completely stock classic S with the 60s output pickups, and this is the most Eric Johnson spec that they offer. The reason I spec'd it, like the only thing that's not EJ is I do have a recess where the trim is. Obviously, there's a Godo. It's not a Fender trim, but it's a Godo. The fretboard is a 16, but these are the stock V60 pickups. The tone knob is, this is it wide open with no tube driver. I'll roll it to about 9. 8.5 is plenty. Now it sounds super dark. Let's put on the tube driver again. You can see how that thing really pulls it all together and gets the frequencies to sound right. It sounds really correct to me. Like this is super correct sounding. Specifically a certain period. Look, this is the Austin City Limits, Avia Musicom, Venus Isle. You know, that is to me. There's just like King Arthur in his court. You know. The interesting thing about this sound and chasing this around is in most applications, this doesn't really, it's not a tone that works. This is a tone that gets you fired off a session, like in a heartbeat. This is a tone that gets you fired out of a hired gun gig. It's super dark. It's super huge and fat. And in a band setting, it eats up all the frequencies. Especially the low mids, and can get out of control. However, it is the Eric Johnson, thing where Eric's approach is the guitar is very much a singer, and it's very much like having a cello or something. We've all heard it, the violin or the golden cello or whatever. So I think that's worth being noted. Or just said out loud. It's like if I was going to see somebody play a bunch of Skynyrd and ZZ Top songs, I don't know if this would be what I wanted to hear all night long. However, this thing really excels when you're doing Hendrix tunes and you start, again, it's very, if you start soloing over like Bridge of Sighs or something with this, it's really going to rock. It's really going to rock. Yeah, it's like anything else. It's just knowing how to use it, knowing when to use it, and knowing its application. But today's not really about that so much as it is, how do you get there? This amplifier literally belonged to him, and there's a percentage chance that it was the backup amp on Austin City Limits. It's got the same markings. I don't know if this is factual or not. Eric himself said he owned probably 24 68, 69 super leads over the years, is what he told me. And he's owned over 24 of them. He doesn't remember which one he had, which ones he got rid of. It's really funny. He's the sweetest guy. And he actually offered to sell me a 412 cabinet to go with it, which I need to get that, to have the full setup, but he's got, so much gear and has had countless fuzzes and countless versions of tube drivers and countless versions of things. And he's got several iterations of his rig. There's the one he brought to Woodshed, which was like a Marshall 212 and a 2-rock, and getting a lot of the tone. I did a video on this, which was like the Zen drive and the Dover drive. He didn't even have a tube driver or a Marshall on that gig, and he had two deluxes, two Fender Deluxe reverbs, maybe. Yeah, or Princeton's. I don't know. It was really like a clinic rig. It was really nice because it was like the mega rig, as if you just bought all the baby versions of those pieces of gear. Now, when I went to jam with him not too awful long ago, and I got to open for him, I think he had a 50-watt Marshall, and there's some things different. Like that Marshall was dry. There was no delay or anything on it. So a lot of Eric's sauce has come from doing things post amplifier, right? Like sending the lines out that were miking the cabinets, putting those through a mixer so that the delay will happen there, or handling it at the board or something like that. So in modern technology, you guys, let me just talk about a couple of things here. One, it's a Strat. A Strat, single coil Strat will do it. He has a humbucker single coil in the bridge. A lot of people don't realize it. This is Virginia, right? That he ironically doesn't own anymore. Like how he sold Virginia. It's just one of those things you go, wow, man, But he's been playing a lot of different Strats and stuff lately. And he's playing a lot of different guitars these days. He's playing SGs and whatnot. So, which I personally think Eric on Gibson guitars sounds amazing. Like a lot of people don't realize that Cliff's Dover was recorded on 335, wasn't recorded on a Strat. So, Strat pickup, if you want to be super accurate, it needs to be a humbucker with only half of it working, I think is the thing, right? Like only half of the back single coil space humbucker works, and the wiring allows him to get that Kodo sound that he uses. This guitar is not set up like that. This is normal Stratty mix Stratocaster, right? Other than being better. Because hey, you know what? Y'all can get mad at me if you want. You can say what you want, but until Fender starts making, something at $2,500 that can hang with the Sirs and Andersons of the world, it is what it is, right? So, but any old Strat can get you there. Now let's talk about the amps. There's a lot of options. The next closest thing to this Marshall, and with the Marshall 100 watts, there's some things I noticed. The new ones have more gain. So if you're buying a new Marshall reissue Plexi, it's going to be a good amp. It's going to have more gas in the tank. This thing is really clean. Like when I say it is dimed out, this amplifier is on 10 on both channels. It is absolutely nuclear. And if I lean too close to the rig, to the computer, you could start hearing it. That's how microphone, like this amp is cooking. And if I get too close to the amp, you can start hearing it through the amp. But here's a reminder of maxed out 1969 Super Lead tone. That's it, right? That's maxed out. So it's not a ton of gain. The new amplifiers will get you closer. On a budget, there's a couple of options here. Option number one I really like. This is the Venus. And I actually, when I was comparing it to the Butler, the Chandler tube driver, Butler tube driver thing, I hated this. I thought it didn't sound right at all. I thought it was broken. And then I realized the bias knob needs to be all the way up. So as you can see, with the bias knob all the way up and things at noon, this is it. So if you've got a new Marshall and one of these, you can get there. A couple other things that need to happen, though, because we're only a little bit of the way in. And look, Sir makes an SL15 or 20, I think. I've got the SL68 up here, and that's a Plexi. It's just, it is a little more, it's a little more like other Marshalls that I've heard. This one that belonged to Eric is a little darker and a little cleaner than most Marshalls that I've heard. So just know that most of the newer things are going to have a little bit more gas. And I think that's across the board. I know PRS makes a Hendrix amp that is in this vein. Basically, you need the amp and you need the Y cable. This, you gotta have this. I have two, obviously the one in my hand and the one that's going to the rig. These are mandatory items to get there. And you gotta have the, the output of the guitar into your tube driver. And I'll tell you, dude, hey, listen, guys, don't sleep on this. This is the Dover drive. Now, the EQ controls that I've got on it, they look a little jacked up, but this sounds, hey, and there's no tube in it. So if you're going to play bars and people are going to throw beer on your pedal board, or you're going to, spill the Mountain Dew in it, not going to be finicky. This tube driver, if I lift it wrong or touch it or whatever, I mean, it's finicky. And this one, hey, listen, I got to shoot this one out. This is the 3 knob. It doesn't even work right now. Something's messed up with it. So we got to get this one fixed too. That's the problem, right? You're dealing with the idea of having a 12AX7 down there at your feet where you stomp on it. For the studio, hey, look, this stuff's great. I'm never taking this amp out. If there was some kind of gig celebrating the life of Eric and his accomplishments, and I got invited to play it, yeah, maybe we put this together, but that's a one-off. What if? Nobody's calling me for that. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not even a thing. So to go attack the road and obviously it's even my tone. This is not how I play. That's another thing to say. It can't be reiterated enough. I'm not Eric Johnson, right? Like I don't innately play like him. I feel like I'm wearing a disguise or a costume, but I feel like I've got it. It's a very convincing costume, right? Like that's what we're talking about. The disguise is very convincing. I feel like it's a very accurate tone. And again, when I step on the tube driver and we do the thing. Hey, the Zap riff, you can measure a lot of stuff off the Zap riff. There's the era of like the G3, and when he plays that riff, most people, when they're playing it falls apart. The low end's too dumpy, right? Like it still sounds right up on the top strings. I don't remember how that goes. But this is 2 ingredients, or actually, if you want to be technical, it's 3. You got the tube driver, you got this, and you got the Marshall, or the Marshall style amplifier. You could get there cheaper. You can really do this on a budget, guys. This is not like something that's got to be reserved for the financially elite. But there's 2 things that need to happen, in my opinion, or you're going to blow your hearing out. You got to have a load box. This is dangerously loud. This amplifier right now, if it was going through a cabinet, I mean, it would kill an elephant. Like, this is so dangerously loud. So what's the solution there? I think that Sir reactive load really has got what it takes. Now, everybody's going to chime in. Well, why aren't you using it? Because I don't have an IR that sounds like Eric's cabinets. In the aux, you're able to manipulate the software. Again, this is the reason I still use the aux when I'm recording over all other load boxes. Every other load box is a snapshot, and it is what it is. You understand what I'm saying? Like the IR that you have is the IR that you have, the end. The aux software, the proprietary software, allows you to choose your microphone and the cabinet and move this stuff around. I can't remember what I landed on using this, the equation. For my Patreon members, I'm going to take a screenshot of everything and post it on the Patreon Woodshed channel. So you guys can have the exact settings, and we're going to do some Eric Johnson lick lessons and things like that. So you guys on the Patreon, we're going to get some extra goodies. As always, you're the reason that we get to have these discussions, and your support allows us to not tour and live stream and make content. So thank you, Patreon members. We will be having some goodies just for you, including a screenshot of the settings for the aux. So, now, again, with this load box conversation, there's a lot of ways to go about it. But in general, if you can go into the amp with your setup, into the load box, from the load box, then you can hit your favorite multi-effects or plugins or delays or whatever. I'm using a VP4 in after the aux. So the aux is coming out stereo into the VP4 stereo, and the stereo out is going to the interface from the VP4. All we're having is just a little bit of delay. Here's the amount of delay. Very much Timmons Halo type thing, right? So now, the Dover drive I'm seeing here, I don't know about the manufacturer, but he's saying it's supposed to emulate the fuzz into the Marshall tone. That's EJ's number 2 lead tone, right? So I don't know anything about that. I'm using it as a Butler tube driver. Like, I've got the gain way down. I mean, like, gain is way down, and the level and the tone are kind of up. This is just meant to be a substitute for the tube driver. But on the desk, right out of shot, I have the Big Daddy Jabba the Hutt looking thing, monstrosity that is over here. This is like the most inefficient pedal I've ever seen in my life, and it's got a big stupid cord coming out of it. Like, this is like completely the opposite of how I build my rigs and how I do things. But again, Eric's tone sounds like Eric Johnson. Notice that we're talking about not a song, not an era. We're talking about a guy. Like, he had this huge, love it or hate it. Like, it's okay if you hate it, A good friend of mine, Travis Toy, he was talking about it earlier. Travis likes a brighter tone with more, artifacts in it. And I think that's totally okay. But the deal is, Eric's tone is like, you talk about identifiable. That's the word I want to use. Like, the moment anybody goes for this kind of thing, you're like, oh, they like Eric Johnson. If they have a dark tone and they play a hot pentatonic lick, you're like, yeah, they like Eric Johnson. Like Bonamassa, right? He doesn't sound like EJ, but when he does the thing, you're like, he loves that EJ. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Candyman 21, late to the party. Naughty. You got to be on time. He says, late to the party. Can I get a recap of the pedals used? We're using one singular pedal. It is the Chandler Butler, the tube driver, 4-knob tube driver, a Y cable. This is the most important part of the whole equation, in my opinion. This is the most important part. This is not stereo into tip ring sleeve. That's not what we got going on. This is mono to 2 monos, okay? I would even say mono-e-mono. If you like that kind of dad joke. This is the secret sauce. You're going to use that to go into the left and right top inputs of the amplifier. If you pause any of the Glory era band leader coat, Austin City Limits performance, any of that stuff, you can see Eric using the Y cable. So, you know, ironically, for this to be such a legendary thing, there's not a lot of ingredients. It's just how they work together. Again, this is just the amplifier right here, you know. Let me get that a little more in tune. And G strings give me a fit. Now, let's put on, that's just the amp. Now I'll put on the tube driver with the amp. All of the focus comes from it. Ken Man says, my amp tech said that bridging the channels is the same as the Y cable. It is. I'm not an engineer. I'm not going to argue with what is mechanically happening in there, but it does not sound the same. So take that with what you will. I've got a jumper cable up here, and I've compared jumping this amp to the Y cable. Not the same. So I'm not calling anybody a liar. I'm not calling anybody ignorant on their job or their facility or their engineering skills. I'm just stating that it is not the same sonically. It's not the same in the way the guitar feels either. So there's, you know, it's you got to play it, you got to hear it, and this is where I think a lot of the mythos and Arthurian legend starts to stir up and stir around, because it starts to get into the stand on one foot, face east. It's got to be a battery that's halfway down. If you notice, guys, there's none of this battery at 60% stuff going on right now. You know what I'm saying? It's really this guy right here, the Marshall, and focusing it. Now, I haven't tried the pre-tube driver type of stuff. There is rumblings and rumors before he was doing the tube driver that it was a tube screamer thing. I don't know. Also, there's the fuzz. Different. That's a different thing. The fuzz is interesting because when he would use it, it's same kind of thing. It's not, nothing's really, here's the thing with Eric, nothing's really yanked out. And this is something that I think got passed down to Timmons, and it's been passed down to me from hanging out with Timmons and being, you know, his bro for, 15 years now. Nothing really is doing a lot. You just have moments of everything. Right? Like there's moments of here's a little bit of gain here, here's a little bit of gain here, and all starts kind of culminating in and around the just glues it together, right? The tube driver is not loud. Like the EQ is off. Tube drive and output level is at noon. And here's the other thing that I've noticed. In the tube driver, when you sweep it, it's like it sounds broken, and then it's right, and then it sounds broke. So I think every tube driver, depending on what tube's in it and the sweep of the controls, you're dealing with a lot of imperfections. This is not like modern, like you buy a Sir, they're all the dadgum same. Like my guitar is the same as if I walked into a store and pulled one off the wall. I mean, it's the same. All those SL68s are the same. And of course, I don't mean 100%, but I mean 94.9% the same, and this other 6% is probably due to the fact that this has got different tubes than the next one, and this one was a different tree than the next one. But as far as the way things are the same is really interesting in modern gear. Now, these old Marshalls, dude, they're all different. They're all different. So I've been very lucky to play a lot of old Marshalls. But this one that Eric's got, the thing that I say, I would never be so stupid as to say, oh, you got to have this one. It's the only way it gets there. That's not what we're going to talk about. That's myth. What I will say is factual is this amp has way less gain than other Marshalls and other Marshalls from this era. It's not a flamethrower. And that's interesting to me because it backs up the pushed thing with a little bit of push thing, and then it starts stacking up, and it's really, really great. When I set up my SL68 and I kind of get what I consider my tone, like in my opinion, signature, like an Andy Wood tone. You know, we're talking Truth and Lie, great example of the tone that I like to get. Free Range Chicken, Forgotten Secrets, Junktown, Shoot the Sundown. Shoot the Sundown live at the Sweetwater performance, that one take. That's like how I set up my SL68. So it's kind of clean. I mean, I don't want to say it's kind of clean. It's clean. And you really got to hit it with humbuckers to get it to break up. Sometimes I jump it, sometimes I don't. It's really just how that amp is reacting and which one it is that day. But it's clean. And then I use pedals. Again, just kind of stack things. Even with a gearbox, if you notice, gearbox is a 2-in-1 pedal. It's because nothing's all. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes this is up high, push it with this one. Sometimes it's down, and the compressor's on. Nothing's maxed, but you stack them up, and it gets there. Very much. As something I'm just going to establish today. I'm just going to call that the Texas way of doing things. Right? It's such a Timmons way to do it. You know, Mark Lettieri, he's a stack the pedal kind of guy. He's a clean amp. He's kind of that guy, and he's as Dallas as they get. You know, it's just it makes a thing. Listen, it just makes a thing happen that's really great, and really singable, and really musical. Now, look, if I'm on Shiprock like I was, hey, look, here's the new merch. The new Shiprock merch is great from this year. It was my favorite because it's like all mythology and stuff. You know, what was this on? Yeah, like all this stuff down through here. Like if I'm on Shiprock and we're doing the Stowaways thing where, you know, we're hosting all the rock stars and doing that, and we're going to play Pantera's Mouth for War, let me tell you what I'm not going to do. Everything that I've talked about in this lesson and everything that I say about my tone, I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to take a 5153. I'm going to cook it. I'm going to dump the mids, and I'm going to put a gate on it, and we're going to play Pantera, right? It's knowing when and how to use this stuff and not trying to square peg the round hole thing, right? But today's conversation is just about demystifying and taking the shroud off of this classic Austin City Limits, Venus Isle, Avia Musicom kind of sound, you know. And I think there is a lot of demystifying that can be done here. And I think that, you know, another thing that needs to happen at some point, you got to sit down. I'd love to sit down with some new amplifiers and compare them to this old Marshall and little baby ones. You know what I'm saying? Like the little baby Friedman Plexi, the little baby. Yeah, I mean, it's like this is what Pantera would sound like on Eric Johnson's radio. It's like, it's a mess. It's a dadgum mess. Doesn't sound right, you know? But that same riff on a 5150, especially the new ones. Listen, hear me out too. I'm going to make a video called The Amplifier That Saved My Butt. And short story is, Backline Company had a snafu. They messed up. My Lone Stars and my Boogies that I always ask for in Backline, they weren't there for my show. So I shoot out all the amps they had. They had JCM 900s. They had a Bad Cat, something else. So I ended up getting on those 5150s and getting on the clean tone and setting up my sound around the clean tone and my rig. Got it done, dude. best bang for the buck amplifier on the market right now. We're talking dollar per quality, dollar per ingredient, dollar per tone, whatever you want to call that. The dollar per tone amp right now on the market is a 100 watt EVH 5153. That thing can do just about anything. Now, that's not to say that it's going to be the greatest in any one realm outside of metal and shred stuff. Like, it's going to own that lane pretty hard. Can it blues? For sure. Hey, listen, it wasn't too bright. I dialed the treble back to about 9:30, presence at noon, mids at noon, bass at 11 o'clock. Green channel. Started with the gain all the way down on the green channel and the volume just cooked. I mean, cooked. And then I creeped up the gain till it started to do the thing that I want a Marshall to do, or my SL68. Put on my gearbox. Like, Ben Eller was even like, dude, that sounds like your sound. Like, that sounds like you. I know. And he said, he's like, I know enough about you and I played with you enough to know that that's not your rig, but like, it still sounds like your sound. And I was like, man, it kind of does, man. It's like, and it was less about like me changing my whole approach to guitar to play the 5150s. It was more about like, wow, this can kind of fold into what I do. And listen, Boss and Joy are saying that Engel Fireball has better cleans. I'm like, well, what does better mean? Better's not the right answer, right? Because I need the clean to act like a Marshall. I don't need it to be clean. I need it to act like a Marshall. That's why the Diesel cleans and the Bogner cleans, they kind of do a thing that's their thing. Same with like the Engel amps. Like, the cleans are cleans, but they don't sound like a Marshall clean. And again, that's so much of the fight right here that we're getting, is this Marshall's like pushed. You know, it's that kind of pushed sound. The Engel stuff, I'll tell you the one that really impressed me. Yeah, it's for sure more Fender. There you go. It's closer to the way a Boogie is, you know, like the cleans on Lone Stars or Stilettos or Mark Series amps. It feels more like that, you know. Ironically, the EVH is made by Fender. That's the irony. And you can get that first channel to kind of feel super British, you know, really, really. It is that. And I think Jimmy Owens talking about this transformer magic and the power amp magic. That was the great thing with the 5153, is I could start with the gain all the way off on the clean channel and the volume cooking. So the power section's really doing what it needs to do to accept a pedal well. If you guys will take note, anytime drive pedals and overdrives and stuff sound ratty and nasty on a clean channel, it's because the power section's not doing what it needs to do. Like, it really takes an amp that's like working, like the power tubes are working. And then you put a gearbox or a tube driver on it, or a Nobles, and you can, you know, kind of, it'll get that liquid sustain, you know, singing thing. And that's really something to take away from this. If you're out there doing gigs or sessions, or, you know, even just weekend warrior stuff, try running less gain with more oomph, like at different places in your signal chain. It's like, this is a really special kind of thing. And again, look, this is going to be anti, right? If you're going for those like Mark Tremonti clean tones, right? Those finger picky clean tones, or anti Dan Huff. You guys know that I worship Dan, and I've talked about his tone a lot. And there's a lot of videos of me covering his music and his solos. It's the other side of things. You know, it's like the late Van Halen stuff is so much about the preamp. You know, the preamp of the amplifier, much more than the early Van Halen stuff, which is ripping a Marshall, gripping and ripping, baby. You know, it's like that's the different kind of thing. It's like, and this is closer to the gripping, the gripping and ripping type of Marshall. Like, EQ controls are down, levels are cooked. I mean, you got to remember, an old Marshall has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 knobs. Like, this is a 6-knob amplifier. There's nothing to it, you know, and it's awesome. The SL68's the same way. Now, John's got some switches in this they do some stuff that's cool. I don't really use them because I want it to sound like an old one. It's, you know, and John's got a master volume, which again I don't use. It's wide open. The amplifier's just wide open. But yeah, it's really, you know, if you've got that Fender kind of amp, let's not say a Fender amp. If you've got a small, cleaner amp and you're trying to get to this kind of sound, I recommend using the Dover drive, this with the Zen drive. That's what Eric was stacking together to make it work. And he also had the preamp of the Echoplex in there. So Albin says, Andy, could you discuss the EJ Clean sounds sometime? Yeah, that's a different battle. Different rig, different battle, different circus, different monkey. You know what I mean? That's a whole different thing. So that is very much like the Fender Twin cooking. Two Fender Twins cooking, right? Baby Huey says, free Insta reel of A Wood playing Pantera. Man, I've got video of it, of us doing it, and it was fun. It was fun doing it live, and yeah, you know, I'm dressed in the toga costume with the Zeus hair and the gold crown and big gold gauntlets, and Ben's wearing a toga, and it's the lead singer from I Prevail singing. And it's the drummer, Tom Hain. I think Tom worked with Motionless in White, and he's playing drums. And Doc Coyle, the incredible Doc Coyle from God Forbid. If you want a very, very serious metal rhythm guitar player, and he can play lead. I don't mean that like he can't play lead. Like, brother can shred. But when Doc gets to chugging around, buddy, it's good. Like, and I know that's not, I know that you guys aren't, you know, I'm not known for that kind of world, even though I work in that kind of world sometimes. But when it's right, a good metal rhythm player, whew, it's cool, man. It's really, really cool. What tubes am I running in here? I don't remember. I have the little card, and I'd have to, you know, take the amp out of the shell to look, but it's exactly what Eric had in it when it was sold to his. I forget how he knew that guy. I knew he knew Todd, and Todd, I want to say, did his taxes or something, like CPA for him at some point. This is something I don't remember. How does Todd know Eric? I can't remember. Those guys in Kentucky, they're friends of mine, Todd being one of them. These two amps were sold at the same time. Todd has one, and this is the sister amp. Eric unloaded both of them at the same time. And I can't remember how he knew him, but there's a great photo. I actually had it. I didn't do it. Some of the people that work at Woodshed, they blew up the amp, the photo. Great photo of like me standing looking, and Eric's got the amp leaned over and he's smiling. It's a really cool photo. So I had it blown up into a poster size. It's on the other side of the wall over there in the studio. Just kind of cool. Yeah. So Truth and Lie tabs, transcriptions, Edgar, if I'm not mistaken, those should be for sale on my website. Chuck, can you verify that? Everybody, okay, it's the time in the show. Listen, everybody focus, jingling car keys. It's the time in the show where we are trying to buy Chuck a McLaren. This is the goal. Go to andywoodmusic.com. Buy anything. Literally buy any merch. And we are fighting for no other reason. Chuck's not a car guy. Listen, he likes a car, but he's not like me. He's not like a car guy. My goal is to sell so much merch that I can buy Chuck a McLaren. Okay? That's what we're trying to do. This is my GoFundMe. I just want to throw him the keys to the McLaren. Go get him, Chuck. So, go to andywoodmusic.com. Buy anything. Buy any tabs or hoodies or transcriptions or tone packs. Yeah. It's go buy something. We're gonna get Chuck that McLaren someday. Someday we're gonna do it. I'm gonna film it. I'm gonna put it on YouTube. Everybody gonna see it. It'll be great. So Todd Strickland, thank you, Ken. I knew that. I didn't want to say his last name. I didn't feel like that was my place, but now that you've said it, you did it, not me. So Jay is in the house, and Jay is saying, have you ever tried using the graphic EQ after the pedals to try to shape the Bella EQ to sound more British? Yeah, here's the thing. Jay's getting into the weeds here, where you got a Fender style amp and you're trying to carve it afterwards in an EQ thing. I can never get it to do it. I can never get it to do it right. It sounds like a 2D picture of the correct 3D item. Like something's always... it's almost like it gets into like a bad modeler patch. Like if somebody who doesn't know what they're doing on a Fractal or Quad Cortex tries to make a Marshall EJ thing, and it just sounds like it's like a interpolation of it. That's the way it does. So really it's like British amps, British, American amps, American, kind of starts and ends there. And that's a lot reverse engineering it. You know, I do it for my personal sound. I play British style amps these days, and I'm EQing it brighter to get it to sound more Fendery on my clean tones, and then taking that EQ off when I'm doing the lead tones and the crunch tones. So it's a different thing. To me, it works better the other way, going from British and using EQ to make it sound American. So I always run my 10-band EQ in the front of my amp. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. No. That's not what I'm doing right now for the EJ thing. I run an EQ in front, or in the loop. I run it after post. And that EQ only comes on when I am using clean sounds, sparkly, shimmery, clean sounds. Yeah. True World says, my neighbor behind me has a McLaren. It's so loud every morning at 6 a.m. Sweet ride. Interesting thing about McLarens is they don't hold their value like their competitors do. The depreciation on a McLaren is pretty fierce. Depreciation on a Huracan, Lamborghini Huracan, brother, that thing still pulls money. It's crazy. Like that car is still in demand. R8s, they hold okay. Any of the golden, like the modern, what we call the modern Pininfarina Ferraris, they hold value. Like all your Scuderias, Apertas, and all that stuff, they gain value. Like that freaking 458 Speciale, $1.5 million car now. It's crazy. Most definitely did not sell for that when it came out new. Okay, Neil Shreds is in the house. Neil, how are you? Great to see you. Shout out to all you Patreon members for the support. Can you talk about EJ's tone when he did Woodshed? Was it different gear but same EJ sound? Yeah, it sure was. That's exactly what it was. He was using a baby version of his rig. He had 2 deluxes. Could have been Princeton's. I need to consult the footage, but I think could have been 2 Princetons for the clean tone instead of the twins. And the 2 rock on a Marshall 212 cabinet. So like you took his whole rig and shrunk it. All right, so Chuck just chimed in. We have backing tracks for Truth and Lie, but not tabs. Let me fix that. I'm going to get Levi Clay to transcribe it, and he does a great job. I'll have that up. That'll be in the store. That'll be coming at you. Whoever asked for that, we're going to make that happen. We have backing tabs and tracks for all of Charisma and the Junktown record. That's what it is. And we have the backing tracks for Truth and Lie. Thank you, Chuck. Andy, will you come to the UK? Absolutely. That's absolutely going to happen. Okay, Andy, I was restringing my Signature Red the other day and was wondering if I should condition the board like my Rosewood guitars. I don't really use a conditioner. About once every 3 months, just a little bit of lemon oil just to clean the gunk off. I'm not, These are race cars, man. They're going to get dirty. I don't beat stuff up, but I play it. I mean, that's a John Cooper quote. You know, he always says Andy doesn't beat stuff up, but he plays it. You know, so that's it. Which pick do I use on electric? I have two options. When I'm in the studio, I sure do love this blue chip. This is the blue chip Andy Wood pick, AW. I don't know what they call it, but that's the one I made with them. I love those guys. Matt and Alan, shout out to you. Love you. We designed this together. When I'm touring and throwing them out in the audience, you're going to catch one of these black ice picks made by Planet Waves, the Addario company. It's got a good grip on it. I like the way it feels. It's the same shape that I like too. It sounds good. So, yeah. Now, let's hit a couple of questions here. The chat is rolling. Chat is chatting. Okay. Typical YouTuber stuff. Like, subscribe, bell, whatever. You can tell I get really caught up in those things. If you did get the gig with Sabrina Carpenter, would you go fully digital like Justin or use pedals with tube amps? I don't know. What would they let me do? If I had my druthers, I would use a hybrid rig. I would have an analog rig doing analog stuff into a load box. Load box would feed the in-ears and the front of house. That way I could be my guy, who I am, and have amps next to me. I would just say, Sabrina, please let me just put my cabinets up here. It looks cool. You're going to love it. I'm going to love it. Be great. Yeah. But you never see her band, so I don't know if she's gone full track or what. But Sabrina, this is your chance. You can give me a call. You can hire me. Also, Pavilion off the Venus Isle record is great, man. That's great. Let's see here. Is this tone way louder than the cleaner crunch tone? It seems so dark that I can't imagine it cuts through a heavy mix. This tone is frighteningly loud. Devastatingly loud. Besides the fact that you're an amazing guitar player, you're also very inspirational. Thank you for your channel. Thank you, my friend. Kind words. Sometimes I start reading before I realize what I'm reading, so thank you for that. Eric's uses a combination of Marshall and Fender Twin reverb heads. It's in an interesting combination of clean and distortion for incredible tone. That's all factual. Very factual. However, the Fender Twins are never used in combination with the Marshalls. Let's use very specific grammar there. The Twins or the Marshall. It's never both. Twins or the Marshall. Pickups all stock. No fancy EMGs. Never. No, sir. I have an old beater Les Paul that I'm going to put the Zach Wild pickups in, but that's as close as I'm ever going to get to a EMG thing. It's like, dude, this is a 60s Strat that you can literally order right now from Sir. This is a nitrocellulose finish. This is a guitar from the 60s that you can buy right now, and it play better and have better fretwork. So, Dustin says, it seems like you make the tone work with Gary. Your leads seem to be on the darker side. That's true. They're on the darker side. They're not like this. It's still brighter than this. There's always room for cello. Yeah, exactly. I love that. Always room for cello. Can you please do a collab with John 5? You guys will come up with some excellent stuff. Hey, tell John to call me. I'd love to. What's the status of the Fractal? Is it in this setup? Only the VP4, which is the baby effects unit. It's a really small little guy. It's a VP4. I'm only using it for delay right now. So that's it. Are you doing the Radio Shack jumper cable? This was from Amazon, maybe? It needs to be mono and two monos. The old mono-y mono. Joe Bonamassa talked me out of my hand serial number early issue tube driver for $300 when I was a teenager. I wish I still had it. I actually just talked to Joe the other day. He saw me experimenting with some of this stuff on Instagram. He shot me a text. He was like, hey man, talk to me about that Y cable. I've never tried it. He goes, your tone is the closest I've ever heard to Eric's. And I was like, brother, I appreciate it. from one disciple to another. And I told him, I said, Y cable's clutch. You got to do it. If you're using a Marshall, you got to do the Y cable. Here we go. Checking out a couple of things. I'm just reading the chat if you're tuning in and see me staring at the TV. Yeah. It's not a TV. It's a computer. What do you think about doing this with an AC30 and greenbacks? Machine Gun Man, I have some good news and some bad news. This is Machine Gun Man asking for this kind of tone with AC30 and greenbacks. Here's the good news. You have an AC30. Here's the bad news. Never going to do it. It does not do this. AC30s in general don't like drive pedals from my experiences. They like to be cranking and maybe a treble booster or something like that, but like they don't take pedals like Marshalls do. It's a different thing. It's a completely different thing. And it's the same way with all of your offshoots of the Vox amplifiers, AC30s. I'm looking right now at this Dr. Z prescription extra strength. This thing hates high gain pedals. Like a gearbox on that thing is not the ticket. Any of my high gain pedals, prescription ain't it. So, but the prescription extra strength sounds like Brad Paisley. It sounds like John Jorgensen. You know what I mean? It's like, that's why I got it. Sounds like freaking John Jorgensen Paisley. Yeah. I assume you've tried the Sir Riot. Can it get into that sound? Love the Riot. Killer pedal does not do this at all. One more time, just so you can hear the tone again. Hands are so sweaty. Getting a little hotter. The tone's a little more present now than it was at the beginning of the live stream. Totally, it really does that thing. I'm a little sloppy on those. So there it is, kind of, demystifying some of that stuff. Sorry, chat reloaded there for a second. So Baby Huey 5150 says they have the Whiskey Barrel guitars at Guitar Center Nashville. I think you should go give them a home. They're really good guitars. My favorite. Remember, folks, lemon oil is not a fretboard hydrator. Yeah, it's more of a, cleaner kind of thing. Do I prefer a wet dry rig over stereo? No, I prefer a stereo rig Hang on just a second. Just checked EJ Woodshed footage, and I see Fender Super Reverb on stage. Chuck, that's what Brent Mason was playing through. Brent was playing the Super Reverb. Sean Murphy, those V60s are the best singles. Yeah, they're killer. VP4 rocks. Yeah, absolutely. Is some of what due to the open back cabinet? Talking about the AC30? No, that's not really it. No. It's the natural curve of the amplifier and how the things that make AC30s awesome and chimey, that makes them sound weird with overdrive pedals. My favorite strats are the EJ Signature ones. Best non-custom shop models Fender's ever made. I agree with that. John Cooper, my guitar tech, has one, and it's killer. Can't seem to find any overdrive pedals for my Hughes and Kettner that get the good dark singing tone. Hey, I'm telling you right now, get online, order a gearbox. Start with the mids off and roll them in for more bite. That's bass and treble at noon, gain to taste, treat the blue side like a boost for the red side. There you go. Done. You'll love it. I just can't get along with AC30s. I love hearing others play them. I feel the same way. I like a telly on an AC30 or an AC30 style amp. Again, trying to do the John Jorgensen thing. I don't really like the gain stuff. Give us universal mind with this tone. It's going to sound weird. The only way this stuff sounds cool is when you're playing his stuff. You know, those kind of lines don't sound as good because the pull-offs don't have any snap to them. You know what I mean? Like the pull-offs don't have any snap. This kind of tone really loves input. You know what I mean? It loves seeing input from the guitar. A big EJ thing for me is how he plays around those secondary dominants. It sounds very accurate to me. All the bends, you know what I mean? It's like it has that characteristic. You know? Yeah. Jumped on late, but that Hallelujah video was killer. Much love. Thank you, Matt. That wasn't intended to be so much of a performance other than just a quick demo of the Nocturne, but I thought it had a cool energy to it. It was kind of late at night when I tracked it, and I was like, oh, hell, I'll release that. Why not? You know, and it's like, nothing's perfect anymore, but it sounds cool. Great tone. Nick says big and warm, fuzz-ish overtones, but driven. Yeah, it's like the difference between this and a fuzz is this actually holds together when you're alternate picking a lot of things. Right? You know, it really does the thing really well. Yeah. Create an Eric Johnson tone through a dual rectifier, and you might want to go back. You might want to go back to Marshall. I don't think you can do it through a dual rec. I mean, I really don't. Maybe you can. I don't know. I'm late. What do you think about the Fractal plugin? I haven't even had a chance to turn it on. I've been working. I've been actually working on some box stuff, and I did a session yesterday in the studio, working for a client, and not here, like at a recording studio. And I used the AM4 the whole session. It was crazy. I took a gig bag and AM4, and I was like, man, it's cool. Sessions are different though, right? It's like you got to get in there and get it done quick, and they're not cork sniffing. They don't care how elaborate your rig is. They want the song, they want it done. Bristol Shores will always be my favorite EJ tune. That's the first song I heard of his. Favorite Eric Johnson tune. Favorite album? Venus Isle. Favorite tune? Is it Lonely in the Night? Is it Desert Rose? Those are top runners. I like the songs. The instrumentals are killer. I mean, is Manhattan in there? Is Trademark in there? Those are big ones. Is Zap in there? You know. But Lonely in the Night is it. Highlandrins. Yeah, that's that lick that I think I played a Highlandrins lick a few minutes ago. Here you go. I'm gonna give you a free one. I think it's played in A flat, but here it is in A minor, so you guys can have it. Right? That's how that lick works. Here's the lick one more time. that's how you can kind of add that in there. Hot licks. Or Andy trying to play Eric Johnson licks, right? That's really more what it is. I feel like I'm wearing my dad's shoes or something. It's like, it's not, I'm definitely as close as I can get it, you know, at the current moment, right? Andy, do you ever try to dial in Eric's dirty rhythm tone, or are you mostly replicating the lead tones? I mean, the dirty rhythm is a different amp. Like, you guys realize that, right? It's the two twins, and then it's a Dumble style amp, and then the Marshalls. So when in page 101, when you're asking about this is a completely different amp. I should try to do that with the Hedgehog. That's the closest amp that I've got. I actually want to get a 2-rock for that very reason. You know, or Fuchs. Andy Fuchs makes a good amp for that style of thing. So it's not the Marshalls. So, you know, it's like trying to do it with this is not, it's you're kind of already putting a handicap on yourself. Yeah. Hey, listen, I hope y'all enjoyed this. Let's just have a quick recap. You're going to need a Y cable, Marshall style amp, EQ controls really down low, volumes all the way up, a Butler tube driver. However, I don't recommend the Butler tube driver because they break. This is a friend of mine's, Fit to Praise, loaned me this to make these videos. This is the Venus. I would recommend the Venus. It's going to work. We don't know if this tube driver is going to not work in an hour. So I'm just very glad everything worked all this whole stream. So yeah. With that said, kids, housekeeping. You're not going to like it. You don't want to hear it. I don't want to say it, but we're going to do it anyways. Like and subscribe. Click the bell for more content like this. Yada, yada. More importantly, go over to the website, andywoodmusic.com. Listen, there's transcriptions of all kinds of stuff there. There's links to lessons. There's tone packs, backing tracks. I mean, there's so many Fractal Axe-Fx patches. I have sent Chuck the AM4 patches. There's going to be a huge bundle of AM4 links. There's t-shirts, hats, hoodies. Look, go buy something. That would be cool. We got to get Chuck this McLaren. We got to do it. I think it's the right thing to do. Get this guy a McLaren. For hanging out in our community, there's a lot of guys in the room right now that are Patreon members, and I appreciate you and the support. Our Woodshed community is the best. It is the best hang. It's a great group of individuals of all different skill levels. We have a live Zoom masterclass that takes place every Wednesday. It's great, and we deep dive on all this kind of stuff. And because it's Zoom, there's actually some interaction and some talking. So everyone, if you're thinking about improving your playing, come over to the Patreon, sign up at the combo tier where you get the masterclass, and try it out for a month. Just try it out. See if you like the masterclass. You get 4 of them in a month, And I think you will. It's a really good hang. It's the best. It's just some great dudes and a great hang, and there's all kinds of stuff like that. Larry says, Andy, play something pretty, please. I will play something pretty next time. This is not a pretty guitar tone, and we're out of time by 30 minutes. But hey, you know, whatever. It is what it is. We had a good hang today. With that said, kids, you know, I'm going to get off here and get to digging back into the other side of what I do. So, you know, I hope everyone has a great week. Be blessed, and we'll talk to you guys real soon.